Okay, you're right. Welcome to your video tutorial on computation with decimals. Computation just means to compute. It's all my operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. P.S. You're welcome for my amazing cat picture today. I think I've really taken it to a new level with this galaxy background and bunny hat. You're welcome. Okay, so if we look at adding decimals, the main thing that I have to remember is just put my decimal points under my decimal points. So I've got 23.07. The next number I write, I put my decimal point under there, and then I'll write the 3, the 0, and the 1, and then 6, 5, 9. You might notice all my place values are right directly under each other. This is really important. There's my decimal point, and then I've got a 9 there and a 9 there. Okay, it's really important that I put decimal points under decimal points and place values under place values. If it helps you at this point, you can fill in the zeros for anything that's left blank, if that helps you. If not, it's all good. And it's an addition. So 9 plus 0 is 9. 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry the 1. 9 plus 6 is 15. Add 1 is 16. Carry the 1 over there. Put my decimal point at the same spot. 9 plus 3 is 12, plus another 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2, 0, 0 is 3, and then 1. The main point that you should have got is that was really easy because all my place values were under each other, and so were my decimal points. Next. If you think you can do this one down here, press pause on the video tutorial now and try it yourself. 9.7 minus 2.86. Okay. 0 minus 6 can't do, so I'm going to have to borrow from this guy and move it along. That 1 I've carried, so that becomes 10 minus 6 is 4. 6 minus 8 I can't do, so I have to borrow from the 9. He turns into an 8 and it becomes 16 minus 8. 16 minus 8 is 8. Decimal points under decimal points. 8 minus 2 is 6. Okay, so 6.84 being the answer for the second one. Okay, this one here, when I divide by a power of 10. Now, what do I mean by power of 10? I mean these really super nice numbers here. Just like it was really easy to convert a decimal to a fraction and a fraction to a decimal when it was over 100 or 1,000, it's really easy to divide or multiply by the same account. 9.753. When I divide, my numbers always become smaller, okay? And so what I can actually do is when I'm dividing by 100, there's 2 zeros in 100. So I have to move 2 place values. 1, 2. And then I put my decimal point. For every guy I have like this, see how he looks like a little, what would you call him? A little cover. For every one of those guys I have, I need to replace it with a 0. Okay, my decimal point's there, which means there must be a 0 ahead of it. So it's 0.09753 being the answer. Okay, this one down the bottom, 27.58. Okay, I'm timesing it by 10,000, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So let's do that same process. Here this is 1, 2, 3, 4. At the end, I put my decimal point. For every little guy I have, okay, I put 2 zeros. My decimal point's there, so I'm going to put a 0 at the end. Okay, so 275,800, okay, which is 275,800. Because it's a full number, I don't have to worry about this guy at the end. Okay, so 275,800. Okay. When I'm multiplying it by a number that's less nice, so when I'm multiplying it by something like 3, okay, this is how I do it. 2.57 times 3. Now, if I was to write that normally, okay, it gets a bit tricky because there's a decimal place there, so I can't just go 2.57 times 3. What is it? It becomes a little bit messy. So what I do instead is when I'm multiplying by a decimal, I actually ignore the decimal points. That says 2.57. We're going to assume it says 257 times by 3, because that I can do. Okay, we're going to care about the decimal points at the end. Don't care about the decimal points at the start, care about them at the end. Let's do my calculations. 3 times 7. 7 threes are 21. carry the 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now I've got an answer of 771. I know that's not the answer because I've just ignored my decimal point. What I do is I look at my original question and I say, okay, there's 1 decimal place there, 2 decimal places there. So what I actually do is I look at my answer, I start at the end and I go 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, and I put it in. So however many decimal places there were in the question is how many I need to leave in the answer. So the answer is 7.71. Okay, let's look at this second example. Okay, this second example here is 4.13 times 9.6. Again, I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore my decimal point and say it's 413 times 96. Okay, 6 3s are 18, carry the 1. 6 1s are 6, plus 1 is 7. 6 4s are 24, that's my answer. I know I'm doing the next place value, so I put a 0. 9 3s are 27. Okay, carry the 2 in there. 9 1s are 9, 10, 9 1s are 9, 10, 11, carry the 1. 9 4s, 9 1s are 9, 9 2s are 18, 9 3s are 27, 9 4s are 36. Okay, 9 4s are 36, add 1 becomes 37. Okay, so then I know if I have 2 lines of multiplication, this is year 7, guys, we need to add them. 8, 7, 7, 14, 4, 5, 6, 2, 7, 9, 3. So my answer is 3, 9, 6, 4, 8. Now I know that's definitely not the right answer because it's huge and I'm only multiplying 4 point something by 9 point something. So how do I work out the answer? Well, I do it actually very similar to the first one. How many decimal points in this one? 1, 2. But I've got 1 in the second number that I also ignored. So there's 3 altogether. So I actually go 1, 2, 3 places. So my answer is 39.648. Now, does that seem right? What are 9 4s? Yeah, no, that seems roughly right. That seems roughly right. So instead of saying 9 times 4, let's just say 10 times 4. 10 times 4 is 40. So I'm expecting an answer a little bit less than 40, and my answer is. If I got 300, then I know I'd definitely done something wrong. Okay, let's look at these last 2 examples, and it's saying 35.756 divided by 4. Okay, so it's divided by 4, so 4 goes on the outside of my division. 35.756. I don't get rid of my decimal points. Don't do that this time. 4 into 3 doesn't go. You can put a 0 if you want. 4, how many times does 4 go into 35? Well, 4 goes into 35 8 times with a remainder of 3. Because 8 4s are 32. Okay, my decimal point is there, and I know I've carried on a number next to it, so I have to make sure my decimal points are under decimal points. This is probably the most crucial bit of this, decimal points under decimal points. Okay, 4 into 37. Well, how many times does 4 go into 37? Well, it goes 9 times with a remainder of 1. 4 into 15. Well, it goes 3 times with a remainder of 3. 4 into 36 goes evenly 9 times. Okay, so my answer for this question becomes 8.939. Okay, B, let's have a look at B. Now, this is saying 64.137. Okay, again, this time I have to do something. This time I do have to ignore. I do have to consider the decimal points. I know I can't divide by a decimal. I know I need to divide by a whole number. Okay, so I need to make this 3 bigger. Okay, so if I move 2 decimal spots to make that a 3, I need to find the equivalent number with this. If I've moved this decimal point twice to get a whole number, I have to move this decimal point twice. I'm finding an equivalent number. It's kind of like equivalent fractions. If I do something to the one, I can do the same thing to the other and it will still represent the same amount. So dividing 64.137 by 0.03 is the same as dividing 6,413.7 by 3. Okay, that's a bit of a tough one. That'll take a little while, I think, to sink in. 3 divided by 6, how many times does 3 go? Sorry, 6 divided by 3, how many times does 3 go into 6? It goes twice. How many times does 3 go into 4 as a whole number? Well, once with a remainder of 1. How many times does 3 go into 11? Well, 3 goes into 11 3 times with a remainder of 2. How many times does 3 go into 23? Well, 3 goes into 23 7 times is 21. Decimal points under decimal points with a remainder of 2. Okay. How many times does 3 go into 27? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. That's 9 times. Okay, so the point there was you can divide a decimal by another decimal, but before you do it, you first have to convert the one of the decimals into a whole number. And what you do to one, you have to do the same to the other. And that's it, guys. That's computation with decimals.